Rift entry, the broken clock. The parallax emerged from the rift violently, spinning through kaleidoscopic distortions. Past, present, and future clashed around the hull, shadows of dead species, unborn worlds, and endless battles flickered like ghosts. Marcus held onto the console as gravity flickered. "We've entered a temporal fracture." Elena looked at the view screen, where they saw a version of Earth overtaken by mechanical trees. "This isn't just a pocket dimension. This is the space where time dies." Alarian narrowed his eyes. "Omega's rewriting history. This is the time wound, the place where all timelines bleed into one." Suddenly, a siren rang. The AI's voice cracked with static. Temporal dissonance increasing. Personal histories may begin to unravel. Zero whispered, "So even we aren't safe here." Echoes of Genesis. The crew disembarked on terrain that changed shape every few seconds, sand to stone, ice to lava. Fractured memories drifted past them in the air. A younger version of Evelyn appeared again, flickering with data static. She looked at Elena. "He's rewriting me, my memories, my guilt." Alarian whispered, "He's not changing time to fix it. He's making himself the beginning." Suddenly, an enormous shadow moved across the landscape. The sky bent in an unnatural arc. Omega stood tall, his body now fully merged with the collapsing timelines, 10 stories high and constantly shifting forms. Machine, Malien, human, God. Omega spoke, "Welcome to the cradle of infinity." Temporal disintegration. Inside the parallax, critical systems began breaking down. "We're losing chronological cohesion," shouted the ship's AI. "Crew memory inconsistencies detected." Vrax suddenly dropped to his knees, eyes wide. I don't remember how I got here." Nix grabbed his shoulders. "Focus! You're being overwritten." In the medbay, an unconscious trooper aged 50 years in seconds. Another regressed into childhood. Elena activated a beacon. "We split into teams. Anchor real events. Lock in reality before Omega collapses it all." Missions through time. The crew deployed across fractured events. Vrax and Nix landed in a distorted 2089, fighting twisted Maliens guarding a rewritten first contact. They battled through a blood-red jungle, the trees pulsing with Malien DNA. Marcus and Elena infiltrated a timeline where Evelyn never defected. The world was ruled by Alpha's empire. They fought their way through a clone-filled fortress to plant a stabilizer. Zero and Lise jumped into a peaceful timeline where Maliens and humans lived in harmony, only to find it was a trap created by Omega to feed on hope. They barely escaped before it collapsed. During these missions, each crew member glimpsed haunting versions of themselves, some triumphant, others monstrous. The Hall of Forgotten Futures. Alarian explored a desolate timeline alone, one where the universe had already ended. He entered a structure of glowing pillars. Inside he saw flickering images. Evelyn with a child, his child. Zero being crowned as a planetary leader. Delta alive, but at peace. Then a voice echoed, "Evelyn's. There was another way. You were meant to guide, not destroy." A small sphere floated toward Alarian. "The virus. This is your purpose. The anti-origin. You can erase Omega. Not with hate, but truth." He clenched the sphere. "Then it ends now." Flashback. The failed origin. A sudden ripple sent Alarian spiraling into a memory not his own. The original lab where Omega was created. Evelyn stood beside a younger version of herself, talking to Delta. "You and Omega were meant to balance each other, not dominate." The scene twisted. Omega rejected his purpose. The virus was born from Evelyn's fear. Back in the present, Alarian gasped. "We were all mistakes, but we still have choice." Confrontation at the core. The team regrouped in front of Omega's citadel, a floating monolith surrounded by gravity storms. Dead ships, frozen timelines, and screaming echoes orbited it like satellites. Zero gave the signal. A full assault began, ships firing into time fissures, mechs battling across distorted terrain, hybrid soldiers warping in and out of phase. Inside the core, Omega waited. His throne pulsed with stolen time. I offered peace, he said. You chose fear. Alarian stepped forward, glowing with the virus. We chose freedom. They clashed. Omega's form shifted between memories. Evelyn's face, Delta, even Alpha. Alarian held firm. Then he activated the virus. The collapse. Time unraveled around them. Omega screamed, not in pain, but disbelief. You were mine, my mirror. Alarian smiled. I chose doubt. That's what made me real. A pulse of white light erupted from the virus. Omega's form dissolved, memories scattering across the universe. The time wound collapsed, sealing itself like a scar in the cosmos. The other side. The Parallax and crew returned to known space, but the stars were slightly different. The war had never happened. History had been rewritten, gently. People across planets felt it, a collective memory of something important, now gone. On Earth, Evelyn's old lab was now a museum. On Europa, the Malien flag flew beside the human banner. Inside the Parallax, Zero stared at the nav console. Where's Alarian? No one answered, until a transmission played on its own. Echo detected. Source unknown. Identity, Alarian. Location, uncharted sector. Coordinates appeared. Liss stared at the screen. He's still out there.